I think it was some compliance or it was some very special product. I can't remember. But yeah, that was how they termed it. Maybe it's a common business term or maybe it was just their terminology. I don't know. But that was, for me, it was a new learning that the
Yeah, must be their
serial
terminology because I have not seen that elsewhere.
yeah, for us, serial tracked or serial controlled was just the same. We just interchangeably used it. Okay, so yeah, moving on. So this is the supplier operation, like how work definition has operations that you create. There is also an operation that you can create of type supplier. This is used in outside processing. So this supplier operation, I've just listed its properties here. So it's always count point enabled, and it must be associated with an outside processing item only. So the item, in the item, remember we saw a setup where you mark that this item is an outside processing item. So the item assigned to this operation should be an outside processing enabled item, and this operation cannot have any resources assigned because this operation is going to be executed by our supplier. Okay, this is about.
That's different from EBS.
No, it's a question. Yes, it is different from EBS. So
right. Anyway, let's see it. Let's see how it goes. Okay.
So no. Let us be clear. So the OSP is only an item, not a resource. Am I right? And operation.
OSP is an item. OSP is the whole flow, right?
No, but there's no resource. You're saying there's no resource.
There is no resource. There is no operation.
There is an operation, but when you when we see the work definition, it will get more clear. So say in your we have a work definition, we have a routing which has got 5 steps. Out of the 5 steps, the third step is an external application where we send it to an external partner to do the value addition and send it back. So the third operation, yeah.
Specifically, it is an operation without a resource. Am I right? OSP.
And you mark that it's a supplier operation. There's an operation type. It's in-house or supplier. Okay. So let me complete my example. So when the third operation is a supplier operation, we will mark 1, 2, 4, and 5 as an in-house operation, and we will have whatever resources, whatever material. Operation 3 will be a supplier, and we will associate an outside processing item. So when the work order starts, it executes operation 10. It finishes the operation 20. When it comes to 30, it is technically sent out to a supplier, and that's when the job is done, it moves to operation 40, 50, and then the work order completes. So that operation 30, which is a supplier operation, we don't assign resources because resources are the
not
resources
ours.
To the not our own. They're not to our plant.
Okay, that's a logical improvement, I would say. Yes.
Yeah, and then it's always count point enabled because it's an external operation. It's count point enabled always.
Okay, it's good. Let's go ahead. It's fine.
Yeah, I think my understanding is it is an operation without an internal resource associated to that. Am I right?
Correct. So this is all about, this slide was all about the work definition operations. The next is all about the operation items, like the items or components that we associate to every operation, and the resources that we assign. So this is nothing but the work definition operations is the material required at every operation, and it determines the usage. So basically you tell which is the supply type, which is the supply sub inventory, whether it's push, pull, assembly pull, operation pull, and then you defer in the operation over there you specify the supply sub inventory. The supply sub inventory locators and all default from your plant parameters. So if you don't define anything there, you have to choose something in your operation, an operation item. It also defaults the item attributes from.
So the materials, are they different from the one in the structure?
Yeah, I'm just coming to that. So the last point, if you see, we can add items from the item structure. Or we can also add ad hoc items, which you can just search and add. And the UI, they have built a lot of high-tech UI for this. We'll go over it and see how high-tech you find it. It's all like a drag and drop feature. It's called Visual Information Builder. And the whole work definition, I think work definitions was the first page in Fusion which started using the visual information builder where you just drag and drop components. So you can very clearly see if every component in your item structure has been assigned. So if you have a huge BOM, you can see if everything is assigned to a routing. We'll see all of that. So every work definition, you also, this is all again very standard where you define resources also to every operation, what equipments or how many resources you need to complete the job. So the resources, so if an operation is assigned to a particular work center, only the resources which are assigned to that work center will be available for you to use. So that is like a key setup. So if you have a work center for assembly and you have assigned 3 resources there, but like resource 1, 2, 3, but you want even a 4th resource to work on this particular work definition, you need to assign that resource to the work center. Then again, the basis and the usage and the charge type of every resource, we'll see all of this, and whether the resource is a scheduled resource.
What do you mean by scheduled resource?
Again, the visibility to planning. So you can have certain resources which are 24/7 available, and planning marks them as infinitely available resources. And there are other resources who work in shifts, and those shift resources, planning also plans for it. So when you have sales orders, it helps in giving the right scheduling and the promise dates.
That's same as EBS.
Yeah. Then we have a concept, standard operation. I'm sure this is also exactly the same like EBS. So this is just like if you're doing a similar operation, you can have a standard operation. There's also this feature where sometimes you can choose to create automatic work definitions. So if there's certain item, like very simple job like kitting, you can choose to automatically create the work definitions just in order to save the effort to go and create work definitions. Here, the standard operations are used when you decide to create automatic work definitions. And when you define your standard operation, there's a little checkbox that default for automatic work definition creation. Then the standard operation can be used for automatic work definition creation. We'll see all of this. It'll be more clear when we see it. And there's also a feature where you can, sorry, I didn't update the slide. Okay, so there's this feature, just look at the heading in this slide, the sync item structure changes. So there is this one more feature where after your work definition is created, if there are some changes made to your BOM, to your item structure. So I now decide component 3, instead of 2 units of component 3, from now on I want to add 4 units of component 3 in that BOM. So I go to PIM, I make that change in the item structure, and if I run this job, sync item structure changes, it automatically syncs that change to the work definitions available. This is also a very new feature. I think it's released in one of the recent months, in the last couple of months. So before that, we would just change the item structure, then come back, search the work definition and change the work definition. So this can be like a scheduled job which you can schedule at the frequency you like. So if you have certain design engineers who just keep working on the items and update that, but they're not really manufacturing experts. So this is very helpful in such large organizations where you have different people playing different roles.
Yeah, in EBS this can be achieved if you are using the engineering change order, ECOs.
Right, ECOs, exactly.
Right.
This is exactly the same thing as ECO.
Okay.
No, ECO got a workflow, and upon approval, and it impacts whatever assemblies you put it, that's what it impacts, am I right? So
right.
Here, what the sync is between what and what? Where is the from and to? The sync.
The sync is between the item structure, your bill of material and your routing and the work definition. So the sync is between item structure and the work definition.
And you have some parameters to run that, right?
Yeah, I'll show you.
No, 1 minute. So
it's a scheduled process to be run, and there will be some parameters to restrict that.
No. I'm not. I have not come to the process yet. I'm telling where is from and to. The from, you said that it is from item definition to the work definition. Am I right?
Right. That is known. Yeah.
So item definition got only item and a structure. Work definition is routing. All are three different entities. So what you are thinking between these two things?
So suppose in the work, in the item structure, I decide now that one of the components, instead, so far I was using only one quantity of the component, and now I want to use in 3 units of the component to build my final assembly.
Correct.
So if I go and make that change, and if you run this job, it will automatically come and update the work definition also, that from now on start using 3 units of the particular component.
So
it's exactly like ECO. It will have a date, and like it's exactly the same thing where the ECO has to be approved. And even here, because we are not doing the approval thing and all, but even here it's exactly the same thing. Your change order has to be approved, and then that change order is implemented inside here.
Is there any engineering module in this cloud?
What is the engineering module?
Which creates the ECO, and then ECO gets approved, and
EBS has a full module for that.
Okay, this is also in PIM. In PIM we have that feature. In PIM we have actually 2 modules, product hub and product model, and there was one more, product information management. So it falls in one of the 3. So either product hub, product model, or product information management. We do have ECOs, change orders, everything here.
Okay, so it is basically engineering module has been merged into the product data hub. Okay.
Correct. That also has different licensing and all that. So it's.
So you said that it for the from and to, you said from the item structure, it moves that change into the work definition.
Correct.
And what about the jobs, the work orders? It corrects the work orders as well?
I don't think it corrects the open work orders.
So it is not with work orders, it's only between structure and work definition.
Correct.
So all the items are repeated in the work definition. Is that the case? Which are already there in the components that are there in the structure are also repeated in the work definition?
Correct. Yes, they are.
Okay, they are repeated.
And so basically it has a effective date, and so because after this update is done, the further work orders will start taking the new quantity. But the existing work orders, if they are open, they will not take the new quantity.
No, the ECO change I talked about is to update the existing work orders as an optional feature. There's an option, there's a checkbox there in EBS, whether you want to do that or not.
Oh, to be honest, I haven't used this feature yet. So I'm not sure if it's doing that, but that's not what I read in the recent document.
Dilip, let me correct here. My understanding is any work order will take a Xerox copy of the routing and BOM. It is not associated to the original work definition or structure. It is only a copy of that. So if you change the original thing, it will not change in the Xerox copy. Right.
No, that's what she's saying. For future, that may be the case. In EBS, we have a feature to do that, but maybe here there is no such feature. We don't know, right?
Yes, we have a feature to do that sync automatically from structure to this.
No. EBS, you can, when you create an ECO, you can say one implementation. You can say that existing work orders should be updated with this change.
Same thing will be here in MDM module. That's what she's telling. If you implement MDM and ECOs, you will get the same capability.
That's not confirmed that I'm not.
I'm saying here the difference is it will update only your work definition, not the open work orders.
Right. Open work orders, she has not confirmed that. She has not said that.
I've not seen that, and like I said, this feature is very new. I haven't used this feature myself on the cloud, but what documents and all I've read about capabilities, everywhere it spoke about syncing the item structure changes to the work definition.
Right, okay, that's a limited change. And that is irrelevant in EBS because in EBS the routing doesn't really have items.
Routing does not have items, it only has the operations.
Right. In
That's
EBS
how I
routing,
know.
right. In EBS, actually, the BOM has, against each component, you can say at which operation of the routing it is created, that part exists. So in EBS, actually, you have to create the routing first, and then you have to create the BOM.
That's why I asked the question. Exact thing. In EBS,
Yeah, correct.
there is
So
no
there-
items in the routing. Yes.
Right.
Really, I'm actually intrigued now. I mean, I really don't know any of these things.
Yeah, that's an interesting part. Yes, correct. It's different there.
Another
Yes.
thing-
So I'm sure you'll find the demo when we are assigning, especially for ATOs, very interesting, because the way ATOs get assigned, it's very cool. Like the UI is, I don't know, they've done a lot of engineering on the UI.
Okay.
Another question. Do you have if you define a work definition and saved it and you used it for some time, for 1 or 2 months, then you came and changed the work definition, will it got a capability of revision control? Can you have the history of what you have done in the past and now?
Yes, we create a new version. You create a new version of the work definition, and then you start using the new version.
So you still, once you create a new version, still you can have what is the old version, am I right?
Yeah, that remains in the system.
Okay, got it.
Oh, I'm actually now intrigued, and I'm that okay. This whole concept of routing and item assignment is so different. I've always heard that it's different, but yeah, I never got into the details of how and what is different. So I think when we see the demo, it will be more interesting for you. So now we'll focus on the demo. The first half will be all creating the work area and work center. Let's see that, and then we'll come to our interesting work definitions. Okay, so let me just come back from home page so that everybody is clear with the navigation. So in the home page, search for the application in your navigator, or if you find it on your Springboard, you can go there. So I'm right now so today my entire thing is going to be on work definition, and tomorrow we will be in this particular module work execution. But today we are just doing everything in work definitions. So let's see the tasks. Our first job is to create a work area. Work area is just a big, large area which contains specialized work centers to do every job.
Do you have a sequence of the thing? The way you said, most of the things are sequentially arranged. So do you have a sequence here, or task by task?
Yeah, even I noticed that. So earlier, like these two are also pretty new, like new features now. So earlier Oracle had just these 3 tasks here, which was very and very serially organized, but now it's not. So what I did is, I'm told that they have shared the lab work with you. So in the lab work, I've tried to define it very logically. So this is the lab. Can you see the screen right now? No, I'm trying to share a Word document. Can you see my Word document?
No.
Okay, let me try to share it. Where is okay, this is the lab work that is being shared with you, and I'm told that it is already shared with you guys. We covered the plant parameter. I put up that, the plant profile, the item and item structure. Then I went a little logical, that you create a work area, you create resources, you create the work center, and associate the resources that are created above. So I tried to be a little logical here. Then you first create a work definition name, then only you can create a work definition. So and then the work definition, a new one, an existing one. Did I repeat? Okay, did I do this for, why did I give work definition name again? Oh, this is an automatic thing. Okay, I'll correct this if I've messed something up. Okay, so anyways, I've tried to be logical in the lab work. So if you just follow the lab work, you'll get a hang of it. And by then, once you just get a hang of it, it's all very logical, and we don't need to look at a sequence. We just understand.
Got it.
Okay, so we are now in the work areas page. It's a very simple page because it's just a logical area. It literally has nothing. So once you do on plus, you'll see that we are just entering a work area name and a code. So we can call it WA2, WA2. The inactive date, when you have to deactivate it, is not a mandatory field, so I'm not going to enter it. And so whenever in any button you see this inverted triangle, it means it's trying to give you one more option under that button. So either you can choose to save and close this window, or if you want to create another one, you can just hit on the downward thing and hit on this. Okay, I'm just going to save it. So all I did now was create a work area, and my work area is ready. So now I'm going to create work center under this work area. So again, everything, you go to your right side tasks.
Don't you have to click done first?
No, I hit on save on that. Yeah, save and close on that pop-up, right? Done will close this work area page. So this, so again, like just to understand the UI, always the name of the page will be on your top left. So if it says manage work areas, it means in this page you can create, edit, delete work areas. And if done should ideally close this page. I'm glad it works, because not every page the done does the right job. Okay, now let's go to work center. Actually, we first need to create resources, because it's only when your resources are created can you use the resource in the work center. So I will first create the resources. I'll just create one example. So I've already created one operator, which is like a human resource, and one machine. So this is resource 1. So the description is optional, I'm just entering. And what resource is this? Is this a labor or an equipment? That is a mandatory field. Let me define another labor.
I think it's good to do operator 2 and machine 2, am I right? That way we know machine is machine and operator is labor.
Okay, that's okay. Operator 2. Okay, in what UOM do you want to charge this resource? So because it's a human, or yeah, mostly you don't even need to have all these, like I said, because these are training instances people keep doing. Ideally you don't get so many options here, you just have. And now also, if you see, somebody has defined an R and an R. Okay, and this checkbox, whether this resource is enabled for costing, whether you want to capture the costs related to this resource and report them.
What about class?
This is, I think, I can't remember what this is. Was it the UM class? I think that was the UM class. I can't recall. And for some reason we don't have any options here. So otherwise this box would be more wider, and I can't recall what I used to enter here. We can just check some document what this field denotes. So basically
that is under development.
Oh, is it? Oh, great.
I'm joking.
Okay, I thought it's really under some development and probably something. Yeah, I just suspect that something is not set for it to show, and it should be the UM classes is what I...
Masha has the inside story. He has the inside story.
That's great. I actually really started to think that, okay, it should be. I can't recall what that LOV is. So I'm just going to save and...
No, I think they separated accounting and put it under costing module. So no accounting required to be set up here.
Correct. So if you want to just... Yeah.
No accounts required to be set up here.
Yeah. So let
I
me
think
just...
it's separated because operations people and accounts people are different. So different people will be doing that. So previously, yes, that was not the case. You know, there was only one setup and both had to fill in the same place.
Yeah, that is a good part. Like, you know, we don't need to worry about the accounts. So
Right.
whatever we know, we can configure, test it, deliver it.
Right. Correct.
And
Otherwise,
in fact,
finance people are keep bugging us, where like asking questions.
Now they have their own screens to go to and finish their work.
Yes.
but typically
But
cost
generally,
accounting still comes under supply chain, yeah, it's always
Yeah, but they have their own independent screens. You don't have
correct.
to share the same screen. Okay, this screen requires part of input from operations people and part of input from accounting people. So that's not the case.
Oh yes.
actually, 1 minute. When you're creating the what do you call departments? In cloud terms, department is called what do you got?
Work center.
Work center. That's where you can have the accounting that will be defaulted to all the resources underneath the department.
So really, no, I don't think it happens that way here.
No, accounting, let us come to it when we come to it. I don't know. Right now,
That's why the class is there. It's basically to make the job easy to make defaults for the whole
this
thing.
may not be accounting class. Who knows what this is? Let's not jump to that.
This is just for the costing, what resources were charged at what rate, and
No, I mean the
cost.
class field is not necessarily for that. There is
Class.
there is an accounting class in EBS. I don't think this is that. Not sure that this is that.
Okay, no, even I'm not you. I can take this in my list of questions. That what is class? 1 second, I'm making a note.
On the bar resource instance, you see the primary work center.
Yeah.
Right, Rob? That will help us.
Right.
Yeah.
So here you have any identifier, any name, like, and which work center you want to associate this resource to. Why is it not giving me work
Yeah,
center?
that's what we are looking for. Maybe you need to save that first.
No.
That's could be correct, but I thought I did save and continue.
No, I don't think so. You say.
So this resource instance also is pretty new. When I used to use this very actively in the last couple of months, I've not been using manufacturing. I never defined this resource instance. This is also something new. I don't know when it came in, but yeah, I know at least sometime back.
Yeah, it's like a resource. Let's say resource is 10 drilling machines. And now in the instance, you're defining each drilling machine separately.
Yeah, and then also it would keep using the instance of everything. That was how it worked, but I didn't know that there was a resource instance thing where you can come. And I don't know why the work center is not appearing here. Let's investigate this later. I think, I don't know, like I said earlier, this little section was not there. So I've not done this little section earlier. Let me see the impact. Let's create the work center, assign those resources there, and then see what impact it has.
Yeah, it seems to be optional, but.
So now I've defined the resource. I'm going to manage work centers and create a new work center. So a work center is created inside a work area. So if you see when I'm giving WC2, I also choose under which work area is this work center created. I'm creating it in the newly created work area. And if you want to define the supply sub inventory to this work center, you can.
Yes, for back flushing.
Yes. And now you are assigning the resource availability. So we created operator 2. Let me see if we have operator 2 here. And how many units of operator 2? So basically this is the instance thing. If you have 10 units of operator 2, so each of the 10 units is treated like an instance even in planning. And again here, if you have this resource working in shifts, it will take up the calendar and its availability and a resource calendar. And if this is available 24 hours, you can just check this checkbox. Like if it's a 24-hour, normally you can have some equipment as 24 hours, not an operator. So I'm not going to select this. This is to assign if you want this resource in the capable to promise, how do I say, capable to promise?
Yeah, most people don't use it. It's very
Yeah.
tough to make it work. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very intensive, very intense calculations and
Right. And people will not agree with it, basically. That's the
correct.
problem. Manufacturing people never rely on it.
Correct. That's absolutely true. So you just look at all your resource availability, the consumption, and you decide on its capability. Again, these two fields are mainly for planning.
Check
So
for available 24 hours. That way, it is a safer option. Just check it out.
okay.
Then there will be no planning, not much planning there, available 24 hours.
Yeah, and anyways, we are not using a lot of planning in our thing, because planning integration will be used mainly when we are submitting sales orders, or we are having the plan recommendations by running the outputs of supply plans. Okay, so for our thing, it will not really matter. And when you define your utilization and efficiency, this is also considered in planning. So if you have an efficiency of 50%, and planning sees that there's a 4-hour job, but because it's 50% efficient, it'll accordingly increase the lead time and give you the new promise dates and schedule dates. So these are also very important fields. So I'm just going to click on OK. I don't want to add another one. Okay, so now we have assigned this resource availability.
So when you talk about planning, are you talking about only the planning modules, or are you talking about, for example, calculation of a completion date of a work order? That also involves lead time, am I right? That's going to use it, efficiency.
That is going to, yes, it will use that. So even in the work orders?
Yes, even in work order it will be used. So that one, you need to have
Work order scheduling, yes.
Yeah, efficiency and all will have impact directly on the work order completion dates.
Yeah, it will. So that is, I mean, okay, maybe you're saying
Not
by planning. Yeah, not just planning. Yeah, by planning, I mean in all your scheduling dates, calculations, and thing.
Correct.
It is going to be used, of course, and that's how you have your work order completion date on your work order. Okay.
What is the supply locator? Can you little bit tell us? Supply sub-inventory supply locator.
From where your components are going to be supplied. So if I'm storing all the raw materials, where you're storing all the raw materials, and to this work center, which sub-inventory are the components lying, which it can keep taking yeah.
And this must be a default only, right?
Yeah, why it is grayed out actually, supply locator. If I have to confirm that supply from a locator.
Maybe the store sub-inventory is not locator enabled.
Is not locator enabled. The sub-inventory is not locator enabled.
Okay.
Hey Rahul, remember yesterday we were configuring the plant. We did not select the locator.
No, we said predefined locators.
And you know what I did is, even in today's session, actually in day 2, I added a prerequisite setup, because this is something we didn't cover, and because this one I didn't cover, I gave you a detailed step. I also gave, if you want to see like unit of measure creation and how to create a sub-inventory. Okay, and then these are like, I just put this as a prerequisite setup, which is in our instance we have, but if you guys like to practice and see, and because I didn't demo this, I put in some more detailed steps, and when you come to setups of day 2, these are all what you're seeing. Okay, just to, and since we discussed sub-inventory, it just crossed my mind and I started showing you this. So when you get, I'm sure all of you have this now, so just go over and try to do. And actually also, when earlier you had asked me that during my time off if I could reply to emails, when we took our break, it struck me that until Thursday I'm available. So until Thursday, if I have questions from you guys, I will be able to answer them over email, but after that I'm on a vacation and I will not be available for one whole week.
Well, that will be great actually. Until Thursday, at least all main navigation questions we can ask.
Yeah. So I'm trying to set up my the email ID that I have is having an issue, and it's not working at the moment, but I'm trying to set that up, and I'm sure that today or tomorrow for sure it should get working, and then I'll have access to emails if you send me. But yeah, it should get working, so don't worry on that. And I'll just double check with the training team that we are doing this engagement, and I'm sure that's okay to exchange emails and answer your questions over emails, but I'll just keep them informed too.
Okay.
Okay. So I've just defined the work center and assigned the resource. So save and close. So here we did, now we have done all the plant related setup. Okay, the standard operation we'll see later. Let's see that once we have.
So one resource can be in more than one work center, correct?
Yes, it can be. And even you can have those instances of resources in different work centers. Like if you have a lab machine, you can have the lab machine in different work centers, the same lab machine. So that's when it assigns the instance. You know, actually, I was curious to come and see this instance. Did it? Okay, I thought just because I assigned it there, I don't know if something would have happened here. Ah, now it's appearing. Once you assign the resource to the work center, the resource instance work center is coming up. So, but what can be the name of a resource instance? I get the idea of resource instances. So if I'm assigning instance 1, how does it matter? Maybe it's just to tie it to an individual specialized person.
Right. Supposing there are, this is operators. So supposing there are 10 operators, then you say that, okay, show you the names. Yes. So you can always say which person is, since it's showing you the names, it may be that which person is in which work center.
Yeah. Like I said, this is new. So actually, I know in the background everything worked like a resource instance, but I'm very surprised to see how you can. But actually, it's nice because if you have a specialized person, and that specialized person needs to be on certain job, like you could have 10 design engineers, but design engineer X need to be in something. So I think that is the whole idea behind having the person name.
Yeah, and it's only primary, so he can still work occasionally on some of the work center if required. He can be full-time work center. Say, hey, today can you work for this?
Can I ask you one question? Is the persons need to be defined as an employee in the HR module or somewhere to appear here, or is it anybody can be?
Employees in HR, yes.
So I'll tell you again something. How it's done here in which has a lot of confusion in a lot of consultants. Okay, so when we create a user in the Oracle Cloud, you can, like we saw the security console, you can create a user over there too, and you can give the employee role. That's what consultants normally understand it, and probably when I've learned it by making the mistake. But when you create a user in the security console, like same users tab, you can do a add new and create a new user there, that user, and give him the employee role. However, that user is not an employee, that's just a user account. So if you want to create, say, like the test org, I want to create a user, say, test org operator, or my manufacturing plant is called say Ambani Steels. So this is my plant. So Ambani Steel operator can be a user account which is created in the security console. That is sometimes interchangeably used as a user. Hey, I have the user, but that's just a user account, and that's not associated to a person. You can give it the employee role, but that role is still not going to make you a person in HR. So, you know, you're not a physical body, a person. If you're not a person, you do have some, like from order management or from supply chain, it's like you will not be like if you want to play the role of a planner. So that user that I created, Ambani Steel operator, can never play the role of a planner, because how the system validates, like in the cloud, it validates that has a person account. So there's a persons table in HR. it sees that the record should be there. So it has to be a physical person. If you're a planner, if you're a buyer, you have to be a person. Okay? So when you ask that if the user should be an employee, and when we create the user from the actual users page in setup and maintenance, the system asks you that please associate a business unit, please associate a legal entity. That's a mandatory field to associate. That's when you're created like an employee or a contingent worker. So whether you're an employee or a contingent worker, from our implementation point, it's absolutely no difference. But if you create the user from security console, you will have certain limitations. There will be certain things you will not be able to do. Like procurement, you'll feel very handicapped. Like self-service requisitions, you will not be able to raise because you're not a person who's raising a request. You'll not be a buyer. So when we are implementing, we want to be the buyer, we want to be the requester, and we want to test everything that we're doing.
So you mean to say for work execution, the security council employee is good enough, the role is good enough. Whereas for procurement, that need to be an HR employee, right?
Correct. And same for planning. Planning also, if I want to be a planner and I want to create plans, run plans, I have to be a person. So there was, in my initial days, I made that mistake. I could never understand what it was. And I think I spent months and months to understand that. But yeah, that was a very interesting learn for me.
Is it SWMS also? Is it the way it does this warehouse management comes with the mobile scanning capability of operations and all?
Yeah, we do have mobile capability in manufacturing, and we also have integration to the scanning, the RFID scanning. There is an external integration with the RFID generation.
Oh, is it? So that's part of this module?
That's part of, I think that comes either in manufacturing or inventory, but yeah, I was not really covering anything in that because, you know, there are no screens, something to do. But if you want, we can talk about the capabilities that it offers.
Correct. And also I was hearing IoT capability in manufacturing. Do you know anything about it?
Yes, so I have also worked on some prototypes in IoT, and we have done the IoT integration, outbox integration to the maintenance cloud. So maintenance cloud is like a part of Oracle Manufacturing Cloud, and that time we did it only with, in fact, the IoT capability with manufacturing is again very recent. I think it's just 1 or 2 months or just this month's release. So Oracle has provided web services and channels through which you can integrate to like the IoT asset monitoring. Look, Oracle has 3 IoT products. One is Oracle Asset Monitoring, where you track your assets and movable and immovable goods. There's IoT Production Monitoring, and there's Fleet Monitoring. All these things can integrate. Earlier, we have done a POC on integration to the maintenance cloud, wherein if your we had a forklift, like an asset, and if the forklift we sensed extra tension or vibration, it would automatically raise a maintenance work order in the maintenance cloud. And like I said, very recent releases, it has also integrations with manufacturing. And I don't know what they're offering, but should be just a web service integration, seamless integration.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that is coming just this month in 19B, the IoT integration.
Maybe I can forward you an email from Oracle Development. Yeah.
Oh, great. Sure.
Okay. So coming back to this employee user, first HR has to create the employee, and then you have to, which screen do you use then to create that employee user?
So if you just go to, let me just show you that screen. If you go to setup and maintenance, I just go to manage users. So in manage users, if you create the employee, it's created like a person, like an employee person. But in the security console, if you create, it's not a person. So this is like one pro tip, I can call it.
Manage user, is it? So you have to go to manage user to create the employee user?
Yes.
Where is that?
In setup and maintenance, I mean, you can just search in.
Okay. Yeah, because I was not doing a search. I was going to look at options only.
Looking up is very difficult. So just
Yeah,
go to
that's right.
manage users.
Right. Okay. So this is good because I was struggling with that previously.
So here, see, it says search a person. So basically, you're trying to create like a human body and a person. So
So this is really an HR function, correct? To
yeah,
create a
but you
person,
know, yeah,
but you
but
haven't allowed it.
when you are implementing like in prod and all, it's an HR function. But when I'm just implementing in a dev or a test instance, I just go create my own user. Sometimes I create 2 users which I keep using for approvals. So I come here and just create my own stuff. And here you can either be, so just enter all the star values, your first name, last name, email,
Right.
and if you want to enter your username, and then what person type you. So you can be a contingent worker. That's also okay. You need not like be an employee, and then enter
I
your
had
details.
shown the screen, but I didn't know how to get to it.
Okay. So like I said, this is like a pro tip because most of we consultants, even consultants now make the mistake of just creating from the security console, and then we are just searching for half our navigations because half
That's an
navigations may not be
implementation
relevant.
user. One you create from security console is the implementation user.
Correct. But I personally, I don't get that funda because as an implementation consultant, like when I was doing a procurement implementation, as an implementation consultant, I want to raise requisitions. I want to approve them. I want to be a buyer. So I don't get the funda, but
yeah, we can't just do setups and leave it and run away. We have to test the whole system. Right.
Correct. And everyone, like whomever I have this discussion with, they're like, no, it's sufficient to create an implementation user, but I don't know, I don't get it. So I stopped creating users from security console. Even your users, the training team had asked me that we just create the users from there. I said, no, let's not be stuck and let's not investigate extra.
So the employee user can do everything that implementation user can do, provided you assign the required roles, right?
Right. Apart from roles, the thing what I was telling you, like some applications validate you to be a person. So you will never be a planner. So once I was struggling, like in the item attributes, when you guys play around with item, in the planning tab, you can associate a planner. And I spent days to investigate why my username was not coming up in the planner. And that's when I realized I'm not a person.
Right. So
and
what
I
I
gave
mean
myself.
The employee user can do more things than the implementation user.
Yes.
But not vice versa.
Which I think is for our implementation is still important. Like I'm not just setting up an instance and throwing it on the customer. I'm ensuring it's working before I pass it to their end.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like I said, that never made sense to me why to have both, but yeah, I think I get it how everybody can use it. Okay, so now we are done with resources creation. We are good to begin our work definitions. So at this point, because we have a logical pause, do you guys want a 5 or a 10-minute break, or do you want to continue?
We can continue. How about others?
I'm okay.
I'm okay too.
Great. So let's continue.
Unless you need a 5-minute break.
No, I'm okay. That's okay. Thanks for that. So now we are done with setting up our plant. Now we are coming to the work definitions section. So first, let's see the work definition names. So these are the work definition names in the system, and this is alternate and test is what is created by others. Like I said, these are Oracle things, and Oracle these days has done this. Most of its seeded things, it has used a prefix. Either it has used the application prefix. I've seen in the order management, a lot of places it is used OM or DOO as the prefix. So you kind of get to know that that is a seeded task from Oracle. So the internal name you will not be able to change because that's seeded. Let's try to create one and see. So I'm creating say, what do I want to create? And what is the work definition type? Whether it's a standard means it kind of takes the type of main, whether it's a rework or a transform order. So I'm creating this like a standard. And the used in planning. I want this work definition name to be considered by planning. So mainly
two of
this
them, as we said, you can have two of them enabled for planning.
Yeah. You can have multiple enabled for planning. So I think that's the reason I was not understanding your question. Okay. So the use of this button typically is so that you don't overload the planning engine too. So planning here runs on a lot of XMLs, not just database space. So first all this things goes and sits in a database, and when you do the collections and data store and even the planning runs and all, it converts a lot of this data into an XML which it keeps referring. Okay, so the idea is not to overburden planning with details that it does not need or the details that it's never going to use. So only the work definition, you can have multiple work definitions defined and multiple used in planning, all of them. So what I'm interested to see is whether a rework, okay, see this is automatically being unchecked. Yeah, this is what I wanted to see. So again, these are all new features which I have not used. The transform and the rework. That time we just had this Aura main.
Yeah.
So this is, but I suspected this rework and transform ones will not be used in planning.
When we change these things, planned and again uncheck these boxes while we have some components already defined, is it that can be updated at any point of a time, or once it is done, it is done?
Let's create. I can't remember. I think we can update. Yeah, we can. The used in planning, definitely we can. Yes.
Now, when you create a row, when you create a new row and you did not complete it, you have to delete it. How do you get out of that?
What do you mean by? Oh, I just hit on.
Use the plus sign.
Yeah. So actually they should have a delete button also. When we didn't, because we don't have a delete, I click on cancel, but cancelling is closing the whole page.
Right, but if you just want to get rid of the row and continue.
So looks like.
Let's say end date. I can see that you cannot delete that, but you can end date it.
No, I'm not talking about a saved row. I'm just talking about clearing, like the clear function in EBS.
Ideally, you should have a delete. So like I said, Oracle is not consistent. So every place should have a plus and a delete, right? So like every table. So they are very.
No, I'm just talking about a row that we started creating and don't want to continue.
Like exactly this row now I don't want to continue. So now I see there's no option here.
Then you can clear it, am I right?
No, clear option is not there. What is the clear? There is no clear option here.
There is no clear option. Yeah, you cannot. So I just click on cancel.
EBS has got the clear option, which requires a lot of training to new people.
No, but other pages within the Oracle Cloud itself, some other pages will have the option, like the to delete an incomplete row.
Right.
It's just like I said, every page is different, and some UI properties keep changing, which is very annoying. But
this is come back.
This is a change request to the Oracle.
Yeah.
I think you can cancel it and you can come back. It will not be.
Yeah, I mean then you have to get out of the form and come back again.
Yeah.
So it's closing the whole page, and then I have to come back and reopen
the
page.
Again. Yeah, correct.
So this is not a good user experience. So typically these things are not nice.
But I have seen delete options some places, yes.
Yeah. See, exactly same page resources. Here I can do that. Okay, here that's beginning because it's opening a pop-up. How about where it doesn't open a pop-up? Okay.
No, there is no. Okay, doesn't matter. Let's leave it.
Okay. Let's move on.
Yeah, but that is how it is.
Okay.
So now that we have created a work definition name, now we are going to work towards creating a work definition. First we will create the work definition for our standard item, the finished good, and then for our ETO. So let's see the work definition. I'm right now in the manage work definition page. So this also can be confusing where you start entering item and all. No, we are right now in the manage work definition page, and this is the search region. Okay, all these fields are the search region. So in order to search for any work definition, one of these double star fields, the fields which are marked as with the 2 asterisk, is mandatory. So I might want to search the work definition for an item that I'm already aware, or I want to search all the work definitions which have the name, like which have this main. So right now there's nothing in the system, it's not going to pull anything, but that is what you can.
Can you do a blank search?
No, you cannot. So wherever you have double stars, it means one of the double star is mandatory. I'll show you. If you do a blank search, it tells you at least one is required and it is highlighted all the fields. Okay, so to get rid of this box, just click somewhere. If you know the structure, I want to see all work definitions which have a primary structure. So one of the double stars is mandatory, but yeah, nothing is in the system now. So here we either click on plus or go to actions, add, or to create work definition. So let's do the plus, and now either your new work definition or from an existing work definition. There's nothing in the system. I'm going to create a fresh new work definition for my FG item that I have defined, and it has pulled the structure name primary. If you have an alternate structure also here, it'll appear in the drop down here, which you can change, but because I don't have it, doesn't appear. And now it's asking me to choose which work definition out of all the work definitions that you have here, which one do you want to choose? There were so many of these, right? I defined this assembly. Let me just use this. This is the first version. This is the start date. Production priority. This is also important field. So because for this work definition name, I had selected that it should be used in planning. That's why I have this production priority field enabled. In the work definition,
this is not showing the inventory org in this window, right?
We are in the inventory org test org.
Right.
Okay. What is the production priority, please?
So when we defined our work definition name, we checked the checkbox which said that any work definition which is using this name should be considered by planning. Okay, for planning. Now because we had that checkbox checked, this field here is enabled. In the work definition name, had we not selected that checkbox, this field would be disabled here, because that work definition name itself is not used in planning. So you cannot have a production priority. Production priority is the parameter which is used by planning to plan your work order. So when you enter, so I'm just leaving this tooltip here. The tooltip says enter one for the primary work. So whichever is the primary work definition, I call that as production priority 1, and whichever is the highest or the least number here, planning will plan all your components resources based on the production priority. So even if you have an alternate work definition with a lower production priority, so planning will be confused, right? Which one does it look at? If you have an alternate work definition also, it looks at the work definition with planning priority 1. The name can be primary, the name can be alternate, or the name can be substitute, whatever the name is. Whichever has production priority 1, planning looks into it.
Or the lowest, right? If I have 10 and 20, then use 10.
Correct. That's no. It says 1. Enter 1 for a primary. So
Only
I think
one?
it looks at only 1. That's what I've always used. I've always used 1. I've never tried that.
Okay.
But yeah, I think the standard mentality that you just use when it's written 1, you just use 1. So it's like 2 level of control. So you can also have a work definition name which says in planning, but that work definition I don't want to burden planning and use it. So you can choose to give another production priority here and not use it in planning. So this is just so that you don't overload planning and run into new type of issues when you have a lot of data in planning.
Got it.
Okay, so I'm just moving on to next. So when I go to next, it opens the box. So we are right now in the create work definition page and we are in the operations section. So what is this saying? It's asking me to add operations to my work definition. So this is conceptually it's exactly the same like how it would be in EBS. We are just adding a new sequence and adding all the fields, like very common manufacturing fields. So if you're using a standard operation, we don't have a standard operation defined yet. We'll define that. Okay, there's something defined by someone. So I'm keeping the operation type as in-house, otherwise it can be a supplier operation. So I can name this as assembly. And which work center do you want to perform this in? Work center 1 or 2? I'm performing this in 1. Whether this is a count port operation or a automatically transact operation, you can just specify. So I can mark it as count point, and then I'm going to add one more operation, the operation 20. It's again an in-house operation. I will call it painting, and I'm going to assign that to work center 2. And
the code will come if you have a standard operation, right?
What will come?
The code you will use only the standard operations.
Code. So because I mean, if you're using a standard operation, I mean, I didn't demo yet the creation of a standard operation. So basically, this section is a standard operation section. So you know, this is also okay. I mean, because I'm so used to the screen, I just understood it that way. So like this section where it says standard operation, so these two fields come under the section of standard operation. Because I'm not using a standard operation, I conveniently ignored it and I moved ahead to operation type. But you know, after you highlight, now I feel the UI is not neatly designed. Ideally the operation type could be in the front, and there could be a separate vertical lines denoting the standard operation little differently. But yeah, I mean,
but if you pick up the standard operation, automatically all other things gets populated.
I think it'll disable this because you're using the standard operation, right? Let me just add it.
No, it will default it.
Disable. It'll disable the other things because.
Not default, it will fill it.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fill it
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
the standard
Sorry.
operation. Mhm.
Yeah. 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 So I'm just because this operation is.
So in that sense, it's logical because then the standard operation should be before the others.
Standard operation, I think, can be anywhere.
No, it is on the left because once you select it, it fills the next three columns.
Yeah, but I think they should be more sectionized that this is the standard operation. Like I'll show you in item structures, the very neatly they have structurized that these fields are related to order management, these fields are related to shipping.
Yes,
It's just that this UI is not too neat. That's okay. So, and anyways, because this work, my second operation, the operation 20, I am keeping that as the last operation. I have to mark that as count point. It's like standard manufacturing basic fundamentals. Okay, and I can do save and edit. So when I do save and edit, you can edit each of your operations, assign items, assign resources, and edit your work definition. So the page is loading, so I can see some, you know, beside your cursor there's something turning, so we'll just wait for it. Yes, so this is the page I was talking, which is developed using the VIB, which is called Visual Information Builder. And here So you know, you can just drag and drop anything, and your item and item structure is appearing on your right. In a very neat, how do you say, indented view. And if it was multi-level with components under optional class, or components or model under a model, and then an explosion, it will very nicely represent that. And here you also have this kind of, you know, zoom like thing where you can just zoom to a particular area. It's it's just too fancy.
If you have lengthy bombs, then what happens? Is it you can scroll down?
Yeah. So using this, you can, you know, sometimes just scroll up, scroll down. I will show you in our multi-level later. It will be more meaningful. And you see how I'm just dragging this item here and there. I'm just dragging it. So, it's too advanced. Okay. And now this reference, it says the assigned quantity out of total quantity. See, so it says to build an FG, we need 1 unit of STD1, 1 unit of STD2, but right now 0 out of that is assigned to the operation, is assigned to any operation. So it just gives you an indicator if some component you have missed from assigning to the work definition. So this is the step which will be executed serially. First you will have an assembly in work center 1, and then you will have a painting in work center 2. So actually I didn't give the right names. So suppose for assembly I need standard item 1, but for painting I need the standard item 2. So I just take this and I drag it and drop it on whichever operation you want. So I'm just going to drop it here. So what it does is, now it shows that to operation 10, you have this item assigned, and notice this tick mark. So it says
fully assigned.
Yeah, fully assigned. And if you want to edit something in this thing, in this operation, just stay on this operation, right click, and you have either the information or actions. So what actions can you take on this operation? You can duplicate this operation, you can edit or delete. So let's see the edit features, because edit will tell you more details about that operation. If it was a standard operation, this reference checkbox will come into use. So if I have name and description, what work center, whether it's count point or automatically transact, so whatever you want to give details here, we can give. It's like while you were creating it, you probably didn't mark it count point, but now you want to, or you just want to automatically transact this, you can do that here.
What do you mean
like
automatically transact?
This operation will be automatically set. The moment you arrive at this operation, you don't need to execute this operation. It will just immediately, it will execute it automatically, and it will move on to the next one. Yeah, okay. It will move to the next operation automatically.
So if you have 2 components, can you share the same item to the 2 operations, 1 each?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
And then all that is also considered in your planning when planning is viewing all this, or lead time calculation, or component and calculation. All that is taken into account. You can. So let's just assign the second item to operation 20. And similarly, resources also you can assign. Was this for resources? No, or this is for resources. So when you go here also, you have your in work center 2, you have this operator 2 assigned, right? So because right now I'm in the second operation, it's just showing me the resource for work center 2. I can take this operator and assign operator 2 and assign it to the work center. When I assign that resource, it's again opening the assign resource operations page. And if you want to assign 2 units of this, you can. What is the usage and inverse usage? Whether it's a scheduled resource, whether it's a primary resource, as I think this has got to do with the instance, the resource instance that we created. I'm not sure of this activity. I have not seen this earlier. Activity. So I think what the action this person is performing or something setup.
No. Actually, that activity is a setup. Setup means maybe you can do the setup one time for a batch, or the setup can be done for each item. So activity setup is, can you pull down that list?
These values could be just created by someone.
No. Actually, this could be setup and run could be the seeded ones. I don't know, tear down.
Okay.
Because
if it is a setup activity or if it is a execution,
yeah,
like a run is, but where will this be used? Like, I mean,
yeah, it will be used actually. So setup.
It's not used. It's not used that way. I think the basis for input.
Is it just like a classification, like just to classify what?
Yeah, just a classification. Yes, just a classification.
Okay.
I think Dilip, if I am correct, setup will be done. For example, if I am starting a batch producing 100 quantity, setup will be done once, but run has to do 100 times.
No, that may be basis. Look at the field called basis.
Correct. Where is the basis here?
Here, just look at the left side. Can you show the values on that?
Yeah, can you show the values? Yeah.
Variable fixed. So that may be the one which is per unit or once, you know.
Yes.
And not this field, and not the activity field. Activity is just a notional field. I think it's only a classification. But
yeah, I think it's all information, I guess. But this is the one. Which
this will determine.
Versus
This will determine whether it is per unit or only once.
Correct. Yeah.
Correct. Okay, so this is all about assigning the resource. So let's assign our other resource also.
And this drag and drop is the only method. There is no like a standard screen for this, because some of these drag and drops are resource intensive and slow and things like that. Sometimes they don't work efficiently. So there is no tabular method of entering this, right?
So you need not necessarily drag. Yeah. So this is one method. You just double click on the operation. It opens.
Fill it there.
And then here I remember having a button called add resource and add item. I don't see it. There used to be something.
Because in EBS there is a discrete manufacturing workbench which does all the fancy drag and drop, but no one really uses it because it works slow and very resource intensive.
Correct.
But here I suppose it's working okay. So
it works okay, and I kind of remember having like assigned a source, like a button here. I don't know if they removed something. Like assign either double click or right click something. Okay, so yeah, you also get this expanded view. Yeah, if you select on items, it will just expand and show you all the other items which are there.
Okay, it looks like the drag and drop is working okay here. So
yeah, the drag and drop works well, but I remember there was like somewhere, and you had assign resource, like here, like actions, there was also an assign, and once you click on assign, it would show resource or component, and then you could add.
Fill it in. Okay.
Yeah. So like I said, there are enhancements every quarter and every couple of months. So I don't know, but normally they don't remove stuff. Okay. Okay, so we have assigned, we didn't assign a resource to the first operation, that's okay.
And we can assign additional parts which are not in the structure, right?
Yes, so here is the search. We had a search for standard operation. So here you can search, say, the other standard items that I had created. So STD component 1 and 2. Okay, so this is searching within the work definition. Hold on, where I'm missing that now. I think the search was here itself.
But that is showing only operations right now.
Because we were in the operations tab. So if you go to items.
How to go to items?
Like this is these three. The one is operation, one is this icon is for items, and one is for resources. Okay. Where did I search? We can search and add. I think in models, okay. In ATO models you can add, but this is like a finished code assembly. That's why we don't have it. That's most probably the reason. Let's create our next work definition for the ATO model, and then we should be able to add ad hoc items there too. Okay. So I'm just saving this.
Are we covered all the features of BOM?
Yes.
Actually, there is a lot of features are missing from R12 to here.
Like
minimum transfer quantity. For example, from operation to operation, let us say I have a order quantity of 100. If I have to move material between operations, what is the minimum quantity required to move? 10 each I can move from next operation.
Oh, there's a minimum quantity for each operation transaction?
Minimum transfer quantity, yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen that here.
Yeah, I think that is not there.
Maybe all that is building in. So in fact, I even saw some new things available in the work execution, all about material transactions and all, which were not there earlier. In the early release of release 13, it was not there. So looks like all that is coming in. And
there is some order management tab where you show certain things in order management and don't show on the fixed list, something like that. A lot of features are there involved. Yeah.
Okay. So from a routing point of view, this is all we have. I think when we execute this routing and work definition, maybe the fields what you're saying is coming in then. Because anyways, like I was saying, there are a lot of new material movement and material transactions which have been added.
Now, not only that, another question is you said that you are going to explain us the sync between, what is that is going to sync between?
Yeah, I'll show you that. Let's finish work definitions first.
No, but before that, can you show us that the supplier type of operation and where do you attach the item there? Oh, there also you just drag and drop an item, same way?
In the supplier operation? Yeah. Because we create an operation. Okay, we can...
so you don't drop a resource, you just drop an item.
We don't drop a resource, exactly. We just drop an operation.
Drop an item there, okay.
These are the resource type. Resource type is a OSP, where is external or internal, something like that. Supplier operation versus internal.
So we will create a supplier operation too. And first I thought, let's finish with the work definition. And the work definition we'll create for an ATO model. And then we'll get into this standard operation, supplier operation. We'll see all of that. Okay. And now what I'm doing is the ATO model. I'm going to create a work definition for the ATO model that I have. And I'm sure here I can add the items which are not part of the item structure. So let me just use main production priority 1. I'm okay. So the second operation, I'm marking it as automatically transact, and the last operation has to be count point. That is what I'm going to do.
Is the work center for OSP operation need to be different than the internal work centers?
No. Okay, let's put a OSP operation here also now. We can. So I'm just going to use an operation which is already available for now.
No, but that's not the.
sorry, I'm messing up things. So let's add fourth operation. We will mark this as a, but I don't have a OSP item, so I will not be able to use this. But yeah, just to show you the feature, the supplier is marked, the operation type is supplier, and if you see, it is automatically grayed out this because it cannot be automatically transact, but it's
What about
count
work
point
center?
enabled.
Work
Yeah.
center?
Work center we have to give, looks like. Even I'm creating the first time the supplier operation. Let me not give and
What,
try to save it.
what is this one? Name? Oh, that's just a name. It did not have
That's just a
any
name. Yeah, it's just a. Okay, you have to give a work center because I think. Why do you need a
Also,
work
but you
center
did select
also?
a work center, right? You did select a work center?
Yeah, I just removed it. I wanted to see if the system is complaining because why should you need a work center? When you don't need a resource,
Uh,
why do you need a work center?
I think could be you need to do a logical work center outside.
can you, so that shows no list of values? Work
It
center.
is showing me, and it's kind of mandatory. But I was thinking it should not.
Can you search all work centers? Yeah.
Yeah.
Normally
Ideally,
you will define an outside work center.
yeah, so this is not right where you're selecting your in-house work center. The whole idea behind not
No,
assigning a resource is it's your resource. So the same thing should be with the work center.
no, it probably wants a work center which is external. All the external ones are grouped under that maybe.
Yeah, I think we have.
There's nothing called external or internal work center. We are just creating a work center.
Yeah, but we just need to create one that we use only for outside.
Maybe once the supplier is completed his operation, the material has to come back to this work center, right?
Okay, from there it will move to the next operation.
Yeah.
Mostly that is the logical thing I can think of. But I
No.
thought when you're not assigning your resources.
No, but work center is a mandatory field, so they have to.
Yeah.
That is the reason for that, because it's a mandatory in all cases.
Correct. So the moment we select this, it's asking for an outside processing item, which I don't have at the moment. So I'm deleting this
Okay.
operation.
Okay. Good.
And let's do
Okay,
a
that's
save and
clarify the
edit.
difference.
Yeah. So here you can see my item structure has appeared, and okay, collect all direct children, all actions assigned. Yeah, this is what I was looking at. Okay, so it looks like it's coming when you click on the item, and what was I about to say? So for model, you have that option where you don't need to drag and drop, and like I was telling you, you have an assign button. You have to click on assign, and then it opens, and here I can choose a different operation too. Like 10 is defaulted, but I can choose operation 30. Okay, so it came when I was clicking on the item.
Oh, okay.
And whether this is an optional item and an optional execution, it's coming. This is coming from your item. All these values are coming from my item setup.
When you're configuring an item, the configuration item in order management, based on the selection of options, are you not going to dynamically select the work definition?
No, could you repeat your question?
Actually, typically, a configuration is done in order management, not in work in progress manufacturing module. Right.
So that is another flow. That is called a config item flow. That is a configured item. We are just doing an ATO model now. This is an ATO model. And if we enable the configuration selections and all, then we'll do what you're saying, the star item generation, right?
Correct, yeah.
That is the flow which comes from order management, and that is the flow which comes where the customer is choosing the options that are available.
Correct.
And that uses this dynamic work orders where, so first, even for that, so that is actually the next step to the step what we are doing. So the step what we are doing now, we have to anyways do it. We have to create the work definition for the model, for the ATO model, and if you decide to use this ATO model for customer ordering and all, then this request can come from order management. Okay, so it's not that what we are doing now is different and that flow is different. This is exactly what we have to do even if we are using a star item and a configured item.
So you have different workflows, work definitions for one configured item, so that you can select different workflow definitions. For example, a model item X, I can do multiple assemblies, am I right, with that? So that will have multiple BOMs or structures, item structures, and multiple and a related work definitions, am I right?
Mm-hmm.
So all these work definitions need to be pre-configured?
Yes. If you want to manufacture them, yes. So we saw the, like you were saying, for the same item, you can have different BOM, that is the item, the structure that we defined was primary. You can have an alternate structure, you can have a substitute structure, you can have a new item structure, you can have any number of item structures. And work definition also, we have one primary, and you can also have an alternate one.
So let me give an example so that it will be clear to everybody. Okay, I'm defining a model for a car seat. Car seat, everything is same. So common items are there, like backrest and seat and all. Right? The cover could be leather, cover could be fabric, and on top of it, it could be automatic. So it can have automatic controls. Am I right? So that don't need to be. It could be manual also. So to assemble this as a car seat, I need to have three routings. One is leather with automatic control, leather without automatic control, fabric no automatic control, and fabric with automatic control. Am I right?
Okay, I think I got what you were about to ask. Yeah, sure, go on.
So you need to have this many work definitions?
No. So those come as operations. So I'm going to show you now. So let's have this, then I'll show you how it's visible. So this ATO model we are anyways going to define. So for your entire model, so the options that you gave, leather, you can have an optional class called fabric on the seats, and then the fabric optional class within that can be leather and could be how do you say, cloth, and then you can have options within the leather as what kind of leather, and then within the fabric as what type of fabric. Okay, so what we define is we define a huge work definition with every operation. So if it is leather, I wanted to go to work center 2, but if you have chosen fabric, I wanted to go to this 30 operation. Okay, let's complete this work definition and then we'll relate this work definition to your example. It will make more sense. Okay. So under optional class 1, I'm seeing the standard item which I want to assign to operation 10, and there was, I don't like this, like you said, this UI, it's okay, yeah. So now this is, I've put 20 as an automatically transact operation, right? So this is the mandatory component. The standard 4 I had defined in the BOM, that is the item structure, as mandatory. I'm just putting that as automatically transact. Okay, and the same of optional class, what did I assign? We have to give the system time. I have assigned standard item 1 under optional class. See, I don't like how it's collapsing. Okay, the standard item component 1 is assigned. Let's assign standard item 2 to operation 30. We'll add more operations just so that I can do the example that I've been telling you. So I'm adding a new in-house operation, assign. This is operation 40. It's in work center 1, and this is the checkbox where your question is coming from. Okay, it is an option dependent operation. It means this operation will be executed when the component assigned to it is selected, when the option, like so let me just do
Yeah,
it.
it's same as EBS. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, exactly the same. So now, where is standard component 2? Is that assigned? Okay, where is, I'm going to search for my, so earlier, you know, it never used to collapse like this when I used to use, and now, see, you see right now my option class 2 is not visible. I'm just clicking here and there. Okay, now my option class 2 has come. So now in option class 2, I've picked up the third component and assigned to my 40th operation. So now, because actually all operations for ATO are generally defined as option dependent unless there's a mandatory process that you want to execute, unless there's a mandatory step in your manufacturing that you think you have to execute that. So even this one, I can go edit and make it option dependent. By making this option dependent, if you select the particular car seat or the particular option, only then will operation 10 be executed. So right now this is just an ATO. If I build, if I create a work order on this ATO, because I'm just creating this whole model as is, it will just execute every operation. But when it comes from a customer with all its selections, where the customer has, say, chosen out of, in OC1, if it's chosen one out of the two components, and he did not choose the standard item 1, then this operation will not be executed because it's an option dependent operation. Like operation 20 right now is not option dependent. So it means it's a mandatory operation. So no matter what, whether you choose the standard component 4 or not, because this is not option dependent, it will also always execute the operation 20 and consume this material standard 4. Okay. So basically your work definition is defined, you can say, for every component in your structure. And but when you execute a sales order against that, that is called dynamic work definition. So based on your selection, only those operations are executed and that work definition is there for your work order. So it could be that my work order has, I did not select standard item 1, which is assigned here. So for this ATO, when I do a customer selection, I could have just 20, and then I don't have the 30, but I have only 40. So I can just have the operation 20 and 40. So when I open that work order, say ATO star 123, ATO model star 123, it'll have just two operations, 20 and 40. That's the dynamic work definition creation. And I think that is not there in EBS, right? It creates a work definition for your star item selection.
I think it is there, I guess. I have never implemented. I think.
Yeah, it creates a routing for the star item, a separate routing for the star item.
And it saves that routing in the system or something like that. There's something different that happens.
It saves, yes. Here it's not saved.
So here it's just specific to that work order. So this work definition, this is the main work definition which is there for the entire model. And
Right.
I remember when this feature was coming in, we had all this discussion on how different it was. So here, the routing is only for the model. And when you execute work orders, when you get the request to manufacture, that's when there's a dynamic work definition created out of this main work definition, and that is only for that work order.
Right.
If second time the same selection comes, so it's like an instance or instance of this work definition. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, in EBS it creates a BOM and a routing separately for the star item.
Okay. Yeah, I now remember hearing that.
It says that, yes.
So it says, what was the message? Last operation has to be count point. Must be count point. So, because this is count point enabled, it cannot be option dependent.
Right. Okay.
So, okay, I cannot mark this one as option dependent. It makes sense. That's very logical.
Can you move, drag and drop 40 before 30? Automatically the numbers get changed sequence.
No, I don't think so.
But that number defines the thing, am I right? This is only graphical representation.
Yeah, like
Back
if you wanted like the assembly to happen here, like this number 30, this is the operation number, which is where we defined in our plant that increment every operation by 10. This is 30 I just gave as the name. You can give picking, you can give like packing, testing, assembly.
Correct. But you cannot move it, am I right? You have to change the number to actually really impact.
No, then you have to delete and create a new one. We cannot move this thing.
You can change the number, am I right? Go to 40 and make it 25. Then automatically it should pick it up to the front of the 25. Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah. So does this allow a network? Like it can have two parallel operations? Because these arrows are showing here.
Yeah, no, right now I don't think that capability is there. We cannot have two.
Okay. Right. It's all sequential, okay, one after the other.
Yeah.
In the auto transact, will it not consider the time and for planning and cost? What the auto transact means?
It's just that this operation will be auto. So at the moment it completes operation, suppose you are executing all these 4 operations. The moment it completes 10, it will instantly complete 20 and move on to 25. That is what is auto transact.
Is that means the cost and the time consumed for that defined for operation 20 is accounted to the job?
Yeah, it should be, because if the resources are costed and we are having that, we are ultimately consuming the material and that. Though it's an auto transact, it's just transacting automatically.
Even material is automatically consumed?
Yes.
So it's kind of a backlash then in VBS.
Yes, that's what it is.
Okay.
I'm just again trying to search where I could add a ad hoc item, and in fact I saw a button also which said that it's an ad hoc item.
Where the supply type is given, is a push or pull, where exactly we are defining that? This operation
On the material. So every material that you have, you are telling whether the component basically
the structure?
No, not in the structure. Here, when you are associating the item to every operation and you open the operation item. Okay, so it's called operation item. When you have assigned that operation.
Yeah, push or pull. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so when you assign that.
This is every operation we can define whether it is a pull or push, right?
Yeah. Basically, you define on the item. So when the component, when you're assigning to an operation, you can define whether the component is just to be supplied via a push or via a pull or an assembly push, assembly pull. So it's on the item. So just to again highlight the difference, if I click on this operation, like if I double click and go to actions edit, I will not see that because this is the operations properties. Within the operation, if I go to the item and if I double click, like if I have to double click on this box for the item, I do actions and edit, I will see that. So it tells you how to supply this material and from where to supply, from which sub inventory, where and how to supply this material.
Can you do Kanban between an operation and to inventory location?
Between an operation and inventory location.
Yeah, an operation or to a resource or operational resource or to a work center to a inventory location. Can you do material? Can a Kanban, it got a Kanban integration between inventory and the work center?
I'm just trying to think. I don't think I've heard that because that is done at a org or a sub inventory level, right? So I don't think it's done between an org and a work center or an operation. No, it should not. It cannot be done there.
Actually, a lot of applications.
So where have you? So in EBS we can do against an operation?
No, you cannot. That's what I was checking.
You cannot, right? So here also you cannot.
Yes. Because, but that is,
But
I went to many clients, they asked that.
what kind of requirement is that?
Yeah.
You see, what happens is an operation, the light will glow red and immediately yellow. Immediately we need to supply the material to that source. That is the signal, right? So if there is a integration between operations or the work center to location, then we can do that. That's the physical process.
No, that pull will work. No, why do you need Kanban for that?
Automatically it creates a move order, right, between those two.
Backflash should work. No, but when that stock goes down in the backflash supplementary locator, that can initiate a Kanban. You don't have to do it from the work order.
Work order means
So
it is just-in-time technique, Dilip. What happens is they wanted to bring material from there. Is auto signaling if you wanted to have.
No, but you can achieve the same thing in a different way. You don't have to do it from the work order.
Tell me what is the different way?
From the sub-inventory, right? From the location, sub-inventory location where you're doing the backflash.
Yeah.
From there you can do it. You can initiate Kanban from where the stock drops there.
Yeah. Then you need to have a logical sub-inventory and define. For each resource you need to have a sub-inventory and define Kanban.
Not each resource, that particular one. The one that is applying to that job or which can be common across many others. Can be common across.
The workaround is you need to have a sub-inventory or location corresponding to the work center. Then you can scan them.
Well, it doesn't have to be, it can be shared across many work centers. It doesn't have to be separate for each work center. Or it can be, okay, work center, yeah, you can have one for work center, that's correct.
Yeah.
That's not too many. That's not too many, that's okay.
Yeah. These are all small things, but when people are talking about IoT, RFID and all, they should have this, yeah.
You're getting advanced now.
Okay.
That
cable is not there yet.
Maybe we may have a future at the inventory side. We did not explore the inventory side, right?
No, inventory will have actually mostly, yeah.
Anyway, that's a separate topic. That's a separate topic anyway.
Yeah.
That's a separate topic we requested on 4th day, I guess, that one, yeah. Day 4. Yeah. Thank you. You can move.
Yeah, actually, I know I was told that we actually had a 5-day agenda, but now it's cut short to 4-day. So on the 4th day, as per the, like, because of the cut short, you want inventory replenishments, you want quality, and you want costing. So it's going to be like super packed. So I'm going to work towards how do I, fit in the best of things, or just show, like the primary feature in this. But yes, I'm told that we are just cutting it short to 1 day, and that 1 day for 3 different applications, like in the cloud there are 3 different applications. Is quite a lot, but I'll try to. I haven't worked anything about day 4 yet, so I'm going to work that only later.
You have to prep up actually, that otherwise you cannot cover.
Yeah, so it's anyways very difficult to cover in 5 hours all the 3 modules. I'm just probably just going to show 1 inspection cycle. Let's see. Let me work on it.
We'll have to ask less questions.
Or in fact, during this break, I was also thinking, because you guys are so interested to see a full flow. With an additional day, we can try and configure the system to see the full flow, like the additional day of training. Not by additional day, I don't mean right away. Right away, I may not have the time. But
actually, we are okay with that. Actually, if we want to take additional day, we are okay with that. How about Basha and Sheikh and Blake? I'm okay.
Rao, basically whatever we have covered, we need to digest also, right?
Yeah. We have 2 weeks to digest, man. If you cannot digest in 2 weeks, we
So,
can easily do that.
so if we go step by step, that it makes sense. Otherwise, this is too much stuff. Like we are just watching it. Yeah.
Yeah, Basha, I think 2 weeks are enough. Whatever we have covered, we can easily digest. Only problem is we will come up with stumbling, with the navigation. But flow-wise, it is as good as EBS. So
Yeah, there are not too many differences here. In the auto management, that was extremely different. This one is not so different.
Yeah. This is almost, I'll tell you, 90% equal.
Right. Right.
So all that we will have is most of it is navigational issues. That's it.
Right. Navigation is important, correct.
Yeah. So, Basha, we should be good there. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just going to save this. You know what? I didn't figure out where we are adding the ad hoc item. I remember having a search here
Yes,
itself.
it doesn't matter. I don't think that should be important.
What is
But
the
yeah.
Can you just give us the concept of it?
It's just that if you have another item, I'm not sure if my work definition was saved, but yeah, if you have an item which is not defined in your item structure and you want to use that during your work definition, you want to use it while manufacturing your item. So there is a provision to add the ad hoc items, but I'm just not able to find it right now.
Feature actually. What you're telling is a good feature. So you can put the ad hoc item into the work definition?
Yeah, and in fact, somewhere here you also have the ad hoc button, and I don't know, maybe something I'm doing incorrect where I'm not able to.
No. That is actually, I have seen that application of it. So maybe that's a good idea if you can show us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not able to find it now. Maybe I'll have to search that and come see. This is a check of ad hoc item.
Yes.
So when we associate an item which is not in the structure, it comes here as an ad hoc item. And I think some things have changed with the recent releases and patches. Earlier, I remember where we are selecting the item. Here itself, we used to have a search like button, search like field, and I could search any item within this org, which is of course VIP enabled. It would search and then I could add that item to my work definition. But now I'm unable to find where that option is to add the ad hoc item.
Ad hoc item is you don't need to define in item master, right? That's the definition.
No. I used to add the items which are defined in the item definition. By ad hoc, I just mean that it's not part of your item structure.
Oh, got it. So, Rama, that is very
I
common.
think this may be for
that is common.
items.
Rework orders, non-standard work orders, that is a very, very commonly used, I'll tell you. Yeah.
Standard and non-standard work orders are where we don't have the work definition itself, where you don't even have the routing.
Standard work orders, you will have a routing. Non-standard work orders, you will not have routing at all, right?
Correct. So
Yeah,
that
it
is
is different, Rao. That is different, what you are saying.
No. So, non-standard work orders, you have an option of copying the routing, or you don't need to copy the routing. I think that is the
can be routing based or may not be.
May not be, correct. It will give the ability. So
yeah.
So you can have your own definition, and on top of it, you can, especially in maintenance and rework orders, you keep adding additional items.
That's correct. It's typically used there.
Yes, these are all required for repair and all. So that is actually, I have used it many times. So definitely that is not a application.
So that is one of the common practice, reworking it.
Correct. Any rework orders will be there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to see why I don't see that field. This is here to manage the work definitions where you the versions. Manage the versions if you want to create or add new version, and however you want. Then this is to print just a report. This printing of these reports also uses a technology called BI Publisher. So when we do a print, it uses a template from Oracle. But if you're very specific about a template, there are developers who develop the report layout, and it can be the reports, all these output can be printed in any custom format. So sometimes you want your company's logo to be included, or you want some address or something. So basically, if for any reasons you might want to, or just because the standard template what Oracle uses is very non-structured. So if you want a very structured output, you can create your own template, which typically the developers do, and then you can use that templates to print your reports. Okay, that's again across the application, across the Fusion applications in finance and other supply chain modules. That this is like a common concept. So
Looks like time bound. Maybe the time is up.
I think the meeting
Yes.
set up, they have to do. Yeah.
They have set a certain time limit to the meeting,
Yeah.
and that's it.
This is standard with job. That's the reason it took the time.
Yeah. I think she will connect, but she will not have presenter rights anymore, and we have to wind up.
Yeah.
okay, yeah, you all are bang on right. So I think I'm going to check with the training team, because yesterday also I remember around the same time it had behaved this way.
So there was
What is
a
the
time limit.
duration of the meeting?
I think there is a duration how long somebody else can be the host. I'm just guessing, because if the meeting had to end, each one of us should have been kicked out, right?
Right.
I don't know. I'm just guessing. So,
How
Tuesday.
long
Work
someone can meet?
Work Center itself created for